Hi, I'm here today to talk to you about my book. I've talked about other people's books. College Bound, The Ultimate List of Conversations to Help Your Teen Through High School was a book that I've written. It's self-published. It's on Amazon. I have so much to say that I've actually started another book. And my goal in writing it was to help parents that are on the same path as my husband and I. And that was to get our kids successfully out of the house. Now, it's called College Bound, but it really truly is for any teen, whether they're going into college, the military, trade school, having a gap year, all kinds of options for these kids out there. My book is divided into conversations that you need to have with your kids. So my recommendation is to read the whole thing. It's really short. I could look at the page numbers. I'll put it down in the notes. So you read it and you decide which order of the conversations you want to talk to your teen in. There's no right or wrong. I wrote it in what made sense to me and actually reorganized it a number of times before I published it. As you are talking to your teen, there's so many things that they need to know before they leave. And again, whether they go to college or not, these are all conversations that need to be had. Now, one thing that I will say that in the beginning, after the intro, there are some terms to learn. And if your child is going to college, these are terms for that. Cost of attendance, FAFSA, FERPA, EFC, all the different kinds of loans. That's really pretty college specific. But after that, the conversations open up to what your kid needs to know in high school to be successful down the road from there. So I'm not going to list all the conversations. I've got them right here, but some of the ones that I am going to talk about are the money talk. Who's going to pay for what? If they're going to college, are they going to be on a budget? Are they responsible for their spending money? Who's going to pay for their housing or their books or tuition? Are you paying for everything? If so, great for them. But if not, they need to know what they're going to be responsible for. Budgeting. How does that look? Have they ever been on a budget? Have you had them practice being on a budget? So let them know what is to come, especially when it comes to money, because, money makes the world go round. And if they have it or not, they need to know to be prepared. Are they going to need to get a job, etc. Another chapter that I talk about is that grades matter. And they know this, but here's the thing. Even if they're not going to college, I think a lot of kids don't realize if you're going to join the Army or if you're going to go into trade school, they're still going to look at your transcript. And a secret that I did not realize until we were in the middle of all this college prep with our oldest is they only take grades up to the end of your junior year. So if your kid bombs out freshman year, like my oldest two did, and actually my third one, that's going to really hurt them when they are applying to college, because my kids aren't like the straight A kids. They've got good grades now. They've all kind of worked through that. But if they don't know this is huge. So you can update your grades in the portals of each college. Oh, my kid got a 3.5 fall of senior year and all of that. We will continue to update the kids' information, but be sure that you know that grades count only up until the end of junior year for applying to college. So I don't know if that made sense. I've got a whole blog post about this, so I will link that below. And by the way, if you think my videos are helpful, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And I haven't introduced myself. I'm Melanie from Parenting High Schoolers, and today we're talking about my book, College Bound. So another conversation to have is extracurriculars. I think all of our kids, or not all of them, but most of them join at least one club. And you know what? One club's enough. If they are in that club for 2 or 3 years and they then get leadership, maybe they run for an officer, or maybe they run an event like a blood drive for student council. Maybe they're just a representative and they're not a student body president. That's okay. If you can show longevity and leadership, that's what schools are looking for, as well as future bosses. They want to see that you committed to something you're passionate about. If you're in 5 clubs and you are active, but you're only a leader in one, that's awesome. But showing leadership and showing longevity, huge. Teachers and letters of rec. Encourage your kids to get to know these teachers that are at high school, especially coaches, maybe the sponsor for a club. That's a great way to get to know a teacher outside of the classroom, because guess what? When they are seniors, they're going to need letters of recommendation from teachers that they have been with. So tell them to foster these relationships to become not necessarily the best student, but someone that is not a troublemaker in class, that continues to conversation, that participates, that is helpful. And that way they feel comfortable going to that teacher next year as a senior saying, I really need a letter of recommendation for this scholarship. Or I'm applying to the X college. Would you mind writing me a letter of recommendation? And 9 times out of 10, if they have the time, those teachers are going to do it. I've written tons of these. Just be sure they're fostering these relationships and remembering that their senior year, they're going to need recommendations from a teacher. It's usually a teacher, a coach, maybe a minister, and someone from the community. Some sort of variation of those 4 things. Contact and visit colleges. If your child is interested in going to college, the earlier they reach out to a college and form a relationship, the better. We watched this happen with our oldest son, who reached out in 8th grade. He read about this college and he thought, oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. That's where I want to go. And he started this email relationship with the admissions counselor for our area. We ended up visiting it his junior year. He did not go there, but man, were they interested in him. They sent all kinds of stuff. They went out. We finally had asked him to stop emailing us when he finally did make a different decision to stay somewhere closer to home. But I have read somewhere that each point of contact counts. And they kind of keep track. Something that we also did not know about when our oldest was going through this, but we, like I said, we watched it benefit him in the long run. So our youngest son is interested in a college right now, and they're on spring break, but we reached out with an email, said we're going to visit. Is anyone going to be on campus? And they said, well, unfortunately, no. But we went ahead and took a couple pictures. And so we're going to email the school and say, look, he was there. And, he's super excited about visiting again when school is in session. Essays. Write a couple of essays. Your teen. Have your teen write a couple of essays to have in their back pocket for college applications, for scholarship applications. If they have 2, 3, maybe 4 essays in their repertoire, then they could tweak them to fit into whatever this different scholarship is asking for. And by that, he or she could change the title and maybe tweak it a little bit to skew it towards what they are asking. Some typical topics might be as simple as, what do you want to do when you grow up? What is something that has happened in your life when you were younger that you felt changed the trajectory of your life? Safe driving, don't text and drive. Those would be 3 that come to mind that I've seen a lot of. And then environment is a huge one. What have you done to support our environment being more green? So those would be topics that would all probably fit in different places and could also be tweaked for different situations. Respect the law and rules. This is a huge one. Our kids should know this, but all of the rule infractions, anything that is on their record follows them. Yes, most get wiped when they're past 18, and that's awesome. But most people are trying to get jobs and go to college around the time that they are 18. So just be sure that they are aware that this could really affect their future and talk about it before things happen. Like before your child drives, then they need to know what to expect when they are driving, and they need to know how to respect the law, and they need to know how to act if they are pulled over. Even if it's just for a speeding ticket, they need to know how to address a police officer with respect. So all of those things add up. This is a lot. It is so much. And that's why I wrote this book. And it's why it's broken into conversations, because you can probably dwell on each conversation. I say conversation, each topic for 3 or 4 conversations. And some of them are ongoing. Like even through college, you may still need to revisit that budget. How much scholarship money are you getting this year? Do we need to make up a gap in there somewhere? Will you need to take out a loan? And what is that going to look like? I am not opposed to student loans. I think that there is a time and a place for them. My oldest graduated without loans, but I know that is not possible all the time. So just as long as everyone is aware of who's going to pay it back and how much interest and what that's going to look like, I don't think there's a bad thing. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment box below. Follow my channel, give me 2 thumbs up, and grab a copy of my book. I'll put a link to it below after this video. Thanks a lot.